Okay, today is about part one of kitchen clutter. I am decluttering a kitchen. I've took a lot of pieces out of the cupboard already, and I've put it along the breakfast bar and into sections, maybe like for like. I'm using my trusty laundry basket because I want to see if I can fill it up. So this part is all about getting rid of and reviewing, decluttering, organising crockery, that's plates, dishes and everything, although I did incorporate a couple of other areas, like this is the plastic drawer for our granddaughter's crockery, her cups and plates and things like that. I want to see if I can actually reduce the amount, because she doesn't very often use plasticware anymore, and I have got a pottery set that is a question mark that I need to ask a family member about. And this is the set. It's Peter Rabbit. It was actually our eldest son's christening present that he never took. He has taken over the years a number of items that belonged to him, and we decided after do it on FaceTime and everything that we were to keep that set and get rid of most of the other sets. Here I'm deciding which Christmas plate to keep for our granddaughter. I've spaced out mugs into Christmas, general, autumn, Halloween, and then I also have some mugs that I keep for guests. Years ago I did reduce it down by 23. Here is a few little mugs that our granddaughter uses. This one I'm definitely keeping. This was a gift and I use it a lot, and I've got it in use at the moment, and it's deciding what to get rid of and what to keep. I've decided to get rid of these two mugs as I'm keeping the Peter Rabbit set, but I'm also keeping the Kath Kidson mug because I like it. So this is now her drawer, now decluttered and organised with all her cutlery, which I've actually got rid of all the plastic. Here I have 4 sets of what I call guest mugs, my owl, and what I call seasonal ones. This was a cake stand that I actually sent a photo to a family member to see if they wanted it. I've got a number of cake stands and I've kept them neutral. This is now in the lounge. This is my internal bow, and yes, normally I would have stuck with one sort of space like in the kitchen, but I do keep my best crockery in the lounge, in the cupboard, so it all actually ties in. So I streamlined some of my internal bow, but the rest I've actually brought into the kitchen because, as I might have mentioned a few times now, it is now going to be in use. So I filled my basket and a few extra pieces, and I'm going to go through what I'm getting rid of. I'm not sure how interesting this is to others, but obviously it is helping my sort of well-being as well, because it's just clutter and stuff that I've held on to. A lot of it is duplicates and got too many of different pieces, but it may inspire and motivate yourself to review a little spot, whether it's a cupboard, drawer, or a space that you've put off. If it's a large space, obviously what I tend to do is break it down into little tasks to get to the end goal, if that makes sense. But I'm in a stage in my life now, we have got too much stuff. And as I might have mentioned to a subscriber recently in a message, maybe it's borderline of hoarding, but I don't know about anybody else, and you might think the same, that if you've got the space, keep on to things, and also possibly you're thinking, well, it might be something I need in the future. And that is one thing that I'm trying to reduce down. There is certain things that are sentimental that I can't get rid of, but I am finding it easier to get rid of pieces now and just keep what I love, what I use. A little bit of sentimental pieces maybe that are not used, but you still need to keep. But I'm getting there, so I'm going to share what I'm actually getting rid of. So I'm going to start with my internal bow. This portion of it was actually in the dining room. So I'm going to start with this portion, which is my internal bow. This part was actually in a cupboard in the lounge, and this is probably one of the hardest things maybe to get rid of. And yes, a lot of things I know people can say, and I've had comments before about selling things. I just haven't got the time, or especially when my mum was in hospital, is actually selling it, but waiting in, and I needed to have time cleared in case I actually got a phone call and needed to go to the hospital, whatever. You never know. Or we've had quite a few family problems and issues and health issues, so that's what I'm just putting out of. I have got a question mark what I'm actually going to do with the internal bow, whether I'm going to just donate it, I'm not sure. It is 80s, admittedly, and I had a lot for my 21st. I also, me and hubby had a lot for wedding presents. I had an awful lot of pieces from where I used to work, because they knew I was collecting it and it was on my wedding list. So yeah, but these are the pieces I feel as though I can comfortably get rid of at this point in my life. And these, and I can safely say I haven't used these maybe in, would I say, 8 to 10 years. And these are wine glasses. I'm not much of a wine drinker now. I used to like white wine, especially when we first got married and everything like that. We used to have, often have a bottle, at weekends or something. And I know there's different wine glasses for red and white. I'm not a red wine drinker, but I've only got a set of 4 of these. And if I remember rightly, the last time I used them, I put a battery operated candle in these and had them as table decoration rather than wine glasses, because I only had a set of 4. What we tend to do now is, because of people driving and everything, and a lot of family, I say, don't drink, or don't drink that much, we tend to have what I call a juice that looks like it's in a wine bottle, if that makes sense. I'm not very good at describing things, but there you go. And 4 really doesn't go anywhere, so that's why I'm getting rid of those. This one, when I was sorting through, our son was sitting there playing his game, and sometimes I would ask his opinion. Sometimes when hobby is around, it's quite funny actually, because it'll be dump, get rid of, no, we don't need that, we don't use that. I think it's just just a second voice in the background. Most things I can get rid of myself anyway. I know what I'm comfortable able to get rid of. And this is another one. I've got only 5 of these. I used to have 6, like a Sunday dish or whatever. The only thing with this is I haven't used these in over 10 years. I think I used to use them if I did a prawn cocktail for a starter rather than dessert, because to tell you the truth, especially my family, how much can you actually get in one of these? So very often I used to use it for a prawn cocktail, especially when we used to have date night in, when our boys were little and things like that, and when we was on a tight budget and when I wasn't working. And I used to occasionally, this is when a lot of the stuff used to come out, we used to have the table set, do you know what I mean? Our boys used to be asleep upstairs and used to have date night at home. But there you go. But especially desserts, I've kept all the bowls to this set, and I will share all that, I think, after I've done the whole process. But the bowls tend to have, you know, sometimes we've got 3 or 4 desserts, I have a little bit of each, you know, when we have a sit-down meal, when we've got guests. So I comfortably can afford to get rid of those. As I said, one did break. This is something else I've held on to, and we haven't used them in ages. It's these that you put on wine glasses. You've probably seen them. But we don't very often have wine. And yeah, when we used to have parties, I used to have another set as well. And they've got like different beads on, but I'm just letting them go. Now, what do they say? Pinky? Do they say? Pinky up? My son and hubby roll their eyes, and when we've had in the past dinner parties, I do apologise for repeating myself. This used to be, I've got the teapot. I haven't got the coffee pot, but I've got the teapot, and I used to have these, you know, after meal. But yeah, the only problem is I used to end up filling them up, and hubby, I remember on one occasion, turned around and said, can I be a pain? Do you think I could have a mug? And then the whole table sort of overheard it, and I said, yeah, let's go into the lounge and I'll get the mugs out. So yeah, it is one of those things. I keep them? What I've done at the moment, I have kept 8 cups and saucers, I think it is, thinking about it, and I kept it at that, and I'll keep hold of that, I think, until next January, again, because I can store them. I did say I was trying to make decisions that I don't keep going back on things, but I am getting rid of 3 cups and a few saucers. So the saucers, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 saucers and 3 cups. What it might seem odd that occasionally I used to, years ago, pick them up in charity shops or say in car boots, and sometimes family members used to find these pieces. The only thing I've got to do is sort of put the word out that if this all goes to the charity shop, please don't buy me any internal bow unless I mention that I need a piece, because I don't want them purchasing it and I don't want it back in my home. This is what I call bonbon dish, and used to put imperial mints in here and things like that. I'm just going to let that go. And then this one was a wedding present. This is champagne glasses. On the odd special occasion, we have used them. But do we drink champagne? No, we don't. And it's these. And to tell you the truth, they're taking up space. I might as well just get rid of them. Surely there's going to be somebody that could have them, use them, or whatever. So that's my internal bow at the moment. As you might have seen from the previous footage, I have got a lot of plates, and they're the ones that we're going to be using, and get rid of all the white. There is a question mark on the side plates, what I call a side plate, because they're only slightly bigger than one of these saucers, and to them, one of them stuck a mug on it. I'm thinking, you know, this is more of a saucer, but it's not. It was a side plate, and I kept saying it's a tea plate, as English might say. It, you know, put a few little triangle sandwiches on there, or maybe a piece of cake, and that's what it was supposed to be used for, or maybe a roll on bread and butter, like I said, as a side plate. But that way I might have to rethink that, but I've kept them at the moment. But we did have a break while my son was here, and we had lunch, and instead of using the actual tea plates, I actually used a dinner plate for the sandwiches. So I just wanted to give you some background there, and I'm sure this video is going to be a long one, but I do apologise, and hopefully I'm not boring you to tears. So this little bit here also came out of my lounge cupboard. Like these were actually a Christmas gift. I've had them a long time. I didn't actually use them for drinking glasses, what I used to do was put a tea light in these as well and have these as decor, but I'm letting them go because we very often just use plain glasses. When I said about getting rid of those wine glasses, I used to have a set of wine glasses plain, but has like more cheapy ones, but through the years they got broken, so that might be something that go on my wish list, even though, as like I said, we don't drink, or our family don't drink. But like I said, it's that juice that we normally put in, and also you can get non-alcohol sort of juices and things. I'm getting rid of these little coasters because I've got so many coasters, and very often if I'm going to do a sit down meal at the table, I've got a heat resistant mat and tablecloths. I've got these little spoons and little dishes, but I've kept my plain white ones for sauces or anything like that. These I used to have about 8, I'm down to 4 now, and I had thought about keeping them because they'd be handy at Christmas to put little sweets and things and give them away, but I can't keep everything. These always used to go on the table with after 8 mints on, but how often or how frequently do I use them? That's another decision I'm decided to get rid of, because very often now, even with having a, say, like Christmas time, having a main meal, and then you probably have Christmas pudding or something, do you want chocolates afterwards? So I'm just going to let them go. And then I've got these, I got really reasonable from Tesco's. I used to use these at Christmas and at Valentine's Day. Haven't been used, I would say, in 4 or 5 years. So I'm going to let them go. So there's 8 there. I'm going to have a word with a friend to see if she wants them. And I'm also getting rid of 4 of the red napkin rings. As like I said, I'm sort of dwindling out all my red. But I do have, I think it's 6 that I have actually left in the cupboard at the moment, because I'm going to probably put them in a box, maybe in the cupboard in the kitchen, of gold. So really and truly I'd like something more neutral, but the gold ones I've kept. Maybe I'd want some plain white ones or plain black ones or something like that in future. But how I've seen it also, maybe I will keep the gold ones and be done with it, because very often if I'm going to use serviettes or material napkins, I will get the glass and fold it nicely and put it so it's overlapping over the glass on the place setting, rather than use a napkin. So it's all these little things. So hopefully some of my points may come across and think, oh yeah, I can use something else. I've got something I can use 2 or 3 different ways. I don't use something frequently. These are the sort of questions at the back of your mind if you're like me and need to declutter and everything and simplify your life. Like I've mentioned about these, I don't know the last time I used them, but it's one of those, if I need it, how frequently am I going to use it? Can I use something else? I've got my white little dishes, and if it comes to it, I can always use those, or have a little dish or pot on the table and just put all the mints or sweets or anything, you know, together, if that makes sense. So I'm going to move this out the way and go on to the next little bit. So that last part was sort of like what I would call extras for the main table, you know, like deck or whatever. I am getting rid of 2 sets of placemats. This one was kept in the cupboard in the lounge. This is my internal bow. There's only 5 in here and there should have been 6. This was a wedding present, but I've got a lot of stains on them, and they are 30 plus years old, dare I say. So they've done well, but I again haven't used them in a while because I have my heat resistant mat on my dining room table if I'm going to have a dinner party, so that's why that's going. And yes, I am actually getting rid of this set. This is getting bad. I've had this a few years now, and it was only like £1.99 brand new, placemats and all the coasters. As you've probably seen, I did have a heart set, and that's on my table at the moment that I got reduced from Wilko's, so I'm using that. I have got another set that's got owls on. I'm keeping that for the time being, but that may go at some point. Maybe I'll get some more neutral mats and not swap them out from sort of season to season, because I don't leave a tablecloth on a dining table. I leave the placemats on the table all the time. So another thing is this, I'm getting rid of this cake stand. I've kept my neutral ones. I've got about 3 or 4 actually. I got into cake stands, and then we had difficulty in getting one. Then one Christmas I had about 4, so I'm getting rid of the purple one. I think this was a paper chase one actually, and kept my neutral ones. And the other thing that I'm getting rid of that I've kept, again, I think this hasn't been used for over 5 years, is this apple dish and the mini dishes, due to the fact that we tend to use either the white dishes or the internal bow dishes. And for trifle, I know it's a bit lazy, but when we've had 3 or 4 different desserts, I've kept the trifle in the plastic sort of packaging that it comes to and present it like that. Bit of laziness, but I don't think it warrants me to store it any longer, so I'm just going to let that go. So now it's the main thing, which is the basket. Like I said, I do apologise if this goes on too long, but this way it helps you maybe to rethink and put a list down of what you can use, what you don't use, and what could you use instead. So I've pulled everything out the basket in categories so I sort of can break it down. So mugs, as I said, years ago I got rid of 23 mugs because they built up. I had a collection of mugs. Do excuse any noise in the background. Hubby is just doing a job out there, so there might be a bit of banging about, but I wanted to get this video sort of completed now. So mugs, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 mugs are going. So I'm really pleased with that. Some were gifts, like this one. Fortunately, it is a bit of a novelty thing, so I'm going to let that go. And just keeping sort of bare minimum, dare I say, maybe not quite, but with a few extras. That might seem a bit strange, but I think you can understand what I need, and maybe a couple more just in case something breaks. I've had these years. I did get these from the charity shop. Haven't used them for a while. We've got plenty of bowls now, so I'm just let those go. Didn't use this this Christmas just gone. I have got 3 gravy boats now. I've got 1 plain white one and 2 from the internal bow, so I'm letting the Christmas one go. This is also about things being stored that haven't been used, which is like this, or a decoration. I'm going to see if a family member wants this, because it is the Aladdin lamp I got from Primark, along with maybe Chip, because it is Disney, and I know this family is into Disney as well, so I'm going to have a word about that. These I kept hold of because I kept thinking, yeah, I'm going to use them. Hubby doesn't very often take cupcakes or that sort of thing to work, and nor does his son that often. So for the fact of storing them, I'm just going to let them go. Don't tend to use metal lids that come off of those mason jars, especially as they do go rusty. I got a couple of lids here. I do like these snap ones. The bottoms could have been one of my other sorting out whatever and just dumped because I hadn't got the lid, and now I've got the lids without the bottoms. But I've got enough plastic where I had 2 of these, so don't need 2. And then there's a question mark on whether I'm going to keep the plastic one. I've had this quite a while. I paid 30p for it. It's brand new, in the box and everything. It's just one of those items that I have not used, so you know what, I'm just going to let it go. So there's that. And then I've got my dishes, because I've got some of my deeper white bowls, but I've also got my internal bow, so I'm letting these go. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 there. I've got side plates. This is the side plate that I was umping and ahhing, but a couple of these have got chips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A couple of them have got chips in now. So if I was going to, I would rather maybe get some more white plates, side plates, because the other ones are really small. But we might, as I've got a lot of dinner plates, which are smaller with the internal bowl, I'll probably use those. And then I've got my dinner plates here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and an odd one because the other one of this one broke. So there's 5 there, so that's all going as well. So I am making a list of possible replacements, or if I need them at a later date. Now plasticware, and I'm talking about, I've got 4 here. I kept these in case we're outside. But you know what? If we're going to have a picnic outside with our granddaughter, we tend to use more paper plates now. So that I might as well let those go. This used to be a favourite of mine. Yeah, I'm just going to let it go. These are like dishes for our granddaughter. As I said, I've got a set for her and keeping that. I got the cupcake fairy and that Christmas plate. I've got a Christmas plate, side plate like that, that I kept, but I also didn't share it because it's in another unit that I don't use that often, and it's one of those that she has at Christmas and New Year that has all the compartments for a Christmas dinner. That may go actually by the end of this year's Christmas, if that makes sense. I've also got this owl set because most of the time now she's going to use proper plates and dishes, so that is going. I've got some of these things I'm going to ask my daughter-in-law if she wants them, because I've got a Hello Kitty pot there. These snack pots, I've put a set of my owl ones in that I paid a bit more, and they're in different sizes, but they stack inside of one another, so that's what I'm keeping just for mini snacks for our granddaughter. This was a free item when I ordered online some Vinto from Iceland. This is one of those containers again. We used to have snacks for our granddaughter, but this may go back to my daughter-in-law because maybe she's missing it, I don't know. And then, do excuse all the rustle, I went through all our cutlery as well and kept the metal ones for a child. Actually, there's one. No, I thought I missed that one, but no, because it's got all the rubber, and these are all like plastic and everything, and that was just an odd one. But proper sort of kiddie cutlery metal I've kept, and getting rid of all this. So yeah. So that's that, and then we're down to glasses. I'm getting rid of these 2 Halloween ones. I do like themed items. I do like seasonal items, but I'm getting rid of these. Some of these have got cracks in anyway, so they're just going to go. I've got this odd glass that I don't know where it came from. Maybe it was part of the gift set. And more owls. No, I'm not going off my owls. I'm just being realistic what I actually use and what I need. But I got 3 of these, but I do prefer the mason jars. They're slightly bigger, and I like my mason jars because, yeah, these are okay, but I like to actually have a handle. So yeah, so I'm allowing those go. So there's quite a lot here. and hopefully I won't have any kickback on what I'm getting rid of and saying, oh, this is a shame, because in my heart and in my mind I know what I'm comfortably able to get rid of. And we come to a stage in our life, as I keep mentioning, don't need all this stuff. I want to simplify our life as much as I can. I'll never be a minimalist, if that's the right term, because I like my stuff too much. But what exactly do you need? It's surprising when we spend any length of time in our caravan. So say like Cornwall in the past, when we spent 2 weeks in there and things like that, and you've got such a small space, I come back home and I think, well, how much did I really use and need? It was down to the point in the caravan, although we have got a few bits that could get rid of, you just realise in a small space how much you do actually use, if that makes sense. So I'm going to leave it here, as I'm going to start rabbiting on and on and on, and I'm sure this video is long as it is. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.